Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman from Henry, Mr. Armstrong.
Speaking to the bill.
The gentleman has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, I stood on the floor and expressed concerns about the House version of this bill. And in the interim, I learned that the State Corporation Commission staff has conducted a fairly extensive analysis of this bill and issued it some days ago. And the same concerns that I expressed about this bill are expressed by the State Corporation Commission staff. And let me share, I think, 3 or 4 of those points with you. If you pass this bill, a telephone company would no longer have to provide service by way of a landline facility to any customer, and I'm quoting right out of the SCC report, residential or business, who requests such service if there is an alternative provider, either wireless or wireline.
Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman Campbell.
The gentleman yield for a question.
I will at the conclusion of my remarks, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman's kind of yield.
If the service is available through a cell phone, then that's an adequate substitute, even if the service does not meet the service needs or pricing requirements of the customer. Now, this isn't going to affect too many people, only about 4 million in this Commonwealth. And you know, Mr. Speaker, out, as you know, in Southwest and Southside Virginia, where we've got a bit of an aging population, there's an awful lot of folks to whom a cell phone is still a foreign thing. If we pass this bill and it's determined that they have cell service available to them, they're not going to get a landline. Now, I don't think that I want to go home and tell my constituents they can't get a landline. And while you say, well, okay, so maybe that's a rural problem. What's the big deal if I'm in Fairfax? Well, there's an awful lot of burglar alarms in Fairfax. And I don't know of too many that will allow you to hook up and call the alarm company with a wireless device. That was the other thing that was pointed out by the SEC. Or what about getting stuck in an elevator? What if there's no requirement that there be a landline telephone in the elevator? But the other thing that the SEC points out is that you do not have to consider pricing or functionality in the equation. Now, I don't know exactly what a residential landline costs all around the Commonwealth, but I think it's probably you could get one as cheap as $20. Try and find a cell phone per month for that. But, Mr. Speaker, the wonderful thing about the State Corporation Commission, they're thorough. Let me tell you the cherry on top of the sundae. There is, in this bill, an amendment to Code Section 56-249.2. I doubt if too many people are familiar with that, and let me tell you what this section does. This code section requires public utilities to maintain records for submitting rate of return statements. And let me quote the SCC report. If this legislation, SB1368, would limit such record keeping only to companies required to file rate of return statements annually, this could adversely impact the Commission's ability to get necessary rate of return information from electric utilities such as Dominion, Virginia Power, and Appalachian Power. Where did that come from? Where did that little nugget appear? That we're going to allow Dominion and Appalachian not to submit rate of return information. Woo! Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, there's an awful lot not to like in this bill. And, you know, every once in a while when we leave here and some of these bills get filed away in a file cabinet room, you walk in and if it's real quiet and you listen, You can hear a fuse. This bill has got a fuse, Mr. Speaker. I hope you'll vote against SB 1368.